can't believe I just said that out loud. People are probably gonna like put my head on a spit for that. All of the buzzwords are buzzing for me, if you know what I'm saying. Hi there, book friends. I'm Addie and you are now watching Books and Tea Time. Welcome to the new year. It is so exciting to be in 2024 officially. A nice little fresh start to our reading mood, our reading year. I am so excited about today's video because today we are going to be talking about all of my most anticipated releases for 2024, and I was pleasantly surprised with a lot of the releases from last year, the ones that I got to anyway, but also just in general, all the things that were coming out, they looked amazing. But 2024 is already like popping off, and we haven't even really gotten a lot of the books announced that are coming out in the latter half of the year. There are a couple that I know about that are like series continuations, but as far as like debuts and things, I just have such high expectations for 2024 as a reading year, but also as like a release year for books. So like not only reading backlisted titles that I have on my TBR, but also all of these anticipated releases. So I'm so excited to get into that today with you. We have two big categories in this video. I have organized this into new releases I'm anticipating from my favorite authors or authors that I've read before that I really love and really trust. So like we've got like people that I know I'm gonna love these books. A lot of them are books that are in an existing series that I've already started, if not most of them, or just new releases from authors that I've read a lot in the past. But then we also have a new to me or debut author section, where it's most of it is debut authors, but also authors that I've been wanting to read for a while, a couple of them I think, and like just their more recent titles are very much calling out to me. So I think I want to do the authors that I know first, because a lot of them are books in series, so I can't get super in depth with the synopsis because they're like books 2, 3, 4, 5 in a series, and I don't want to spoil anything necessarily, but also just because I know the most about those, as I know the authors already and I know the series. Also, I'm sure you have noticed, but I finally got my ring light to work again. It was not working for a while. I thought it was broken, but I think I was just being stupid, or like my outlet wasn't working for some reason. But I'm illuminated for you today, and my inner corner highlight is really like popping off right now. Anyway, let's start with the first category, which is releases from authors that I love that just have new books coming out. This is the larger category. I have almost 30 books to talk about, a little bit under 30 books. So I'm, like I said, probably gonna buzz through many of these. Last thing is I put these in order of when they're coming out. So like these will be in an order, and then when we go to the next category, we'll go back to January and go down. So for this one, the first book is actually going to come out in a week and a half, 2 weeks, and that is Midnight Ruin by Katie Robert. This is the 5th book? Wait. 6th book. Wow, I can't believe it's the 6th book already. Is that true? Yes, this is the 6th book in the Dark Olympus series by Katie Robert. It's a series of modern retellings of Greek mythology, romance stories, so to speak, that's in like this dark romance setting. Katie Robert is probably one of my most read authors, not only because she has so many books out, but because I love their writing, and they're just good for a fun, fast time. Also, I love mythology, so like this series especially I think speaks to me a lot. Midnight Ruin comes out on January 16th, and it is a Eurydice, Charon, and Orpheus retelling, and I am so looking forward to this one. I feel like the 5th one I liked, but I wasn't crazy about, so I'm very interested to see where the plot goes with this one, because I always know that like Katie Robert is good at writing like the romance and like the intimate connection between people, but I feel like the plot of the book is usually where it like either elevates it or like takes it down a little bit for me. I am just super excited to read from Charon's perspective because he's like Hades' right-hand man. Then the next one that we have is Be a Revolution by Ijoma Oluo. This is a nonfiction title, and I think maybe my only nonfiction title on this list, but I read So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijoma Oluo, and I loved it, and I own Mediocre, The Dangerous Legacy of White Male America physically, but I haven't read that one yet. I'm hoping and I trust that Jean Malou is going to do this in such a way that it is going to feel like we've got a lot of action items and we're learning, but also learning what we can do and like take into our everyday life with this book. The subtitle is How Everyday People Are Fighting Oppression and Changing the World, and How You Can Too. So I just think that this is going to be so timely. Based on my experience with her other book, I think that she just does a great job of taking these very large scale issues and breaking it down in such a way that it feels manageable in a day-to-day capacity. Yeah, I definitely want to pick this up when it comes out on the 30th and annotate it, so I'll probably buy it physically, or maybe I'll get the ebook and so that I can annotate it and have it just in my collection. Now we're into February. We have Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which I think like half the world is probably anticipating. This is Ali Hazelwood's paranormal romance that has werewolves and a vampire, I think. I don't know if the main character is a human or not. All I know is that there's werewolves involved and it's a paranormal romance and it's by Ali Hazelwood, so I was like, hell yeah, I'm on board. I'm very interested in this one because one of my coworkers, who is a very like die-hard romance reader, said that Ali Hazelwood started writing paranormal romances and then, you know, got her fame with like The Love Hypothesis and a lot of her like contemporary STEMinist novels. But I'm very interested to see her like go back to her roots in this one, even though I wasn't there with her at that time and I haven't ever read anything by her that's paranormal. I just feel like this is gonna be really good and very fun, and I'm super excited to read it and talk about it with my coworkers, and also just because I do really love Ali Hazelwood. She has definitely grown on me. Moving on to An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson, which comes out on February 13th. All I need to know about this is it's a dark academia with sapphic vampires. And it's written by S.T. Gibson, who wrote A Dowry of Blood. So I already know that she can do vampires very well. I don't need to know anything else. As soon as I saw that S.T. Gibson was coming out with another book, I immediately put it on my TBR. And now that I know it's sapphic vampires, the cover is stunning. I don't want to know anything else. I just want to dive right in to this book, and I'm so excited to do so. After that, we have one that I found out recently about. I am super excited for it. It is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. This also comes out on February 13th. But the reason that I am very much excited about this one, and it kind of caught me off guard, is Catherine Arden is the author of the Winter Night trilogy, I think it's called. The first book is The Bear and the Nightingale. And I loved it. It's a historical fantasy set in like, I think 12th or 13th century Russia, and it is so, so good. I listened to the trilogy audibly several years ago, and I still think about those books all the time. I really want to purchase them and reread them and annotate them at some point because I loved them so much, and the audiobooks are amazing, but I want to own them physically. And I haven't seen anything else or ever read anything else by Catherine Arden since then. And then all of a sudden, she has this new release, The Warm Hands of Ghosts, coming out that is also, I think, a historical fantasy, or at the very least, a historical, like, speculative fiction novel. But the short blurb at the top is, during the Great War, a combat nurse searches for her brother, believed dead in the trenches, despite eerie signs that suggest otherwise, in this hauntingly beautiful historical novel with a speculative twist. So I am a little nervous about it because I really, really don't like historical fiction set during wartime, specifically World War I and World War II, or like, I guess a lot of the popular books that are set during World War I and World War II just didn't really do a lot for me. Like, I DNF'd The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I can't believe I just said that out loud. People are probably gonna like put my head on a spit for that. Anticipating this very cautiously, but I know that I love Catherine Arden's writing, so I definitely want to give it a try. After that, we're jumping all the way to April. Apparently no good books are coming out in March, or just maybe no books at all, I don't know. But then in April, my heart is going to shatter into a trillion pieces. But the final installment in the Bergman Brothers series, Only and Forever, is coming out on April 9th. And I am so excited. I literally cannot wait to read this book, but it is absolutely going to crush my heart and soul because I don't want this series to be over, but I love this series so much. I love Chloe Lee's, and I actually have like a shrine to her back here, which I'm sure you've noticed. I got a new bookshelf for Christmas, so now I have the 2 tall ones, and I rearranged my entire apartment. So I might do a bookshelf tour soon because I really reorganized a lot of stuff. Namely, I now have my Chloe Lee's shrine, which is only going to grow. Just, I can't wait to experience Vigo's book because I've loved Vigo as like a side character in the other Bergman books so much, and I am so happy that he's finally going to get his love story. But I'm also already so in love with Tallulah, the female love interest in the book. We've obviously never met her before. Vigo is part of the family that the books follow, so we've seen him and met him in previous books many times, but we've never met Tallulah before. But just like everything that I've learned about her so far just is so darling, and I can't wait to like get to know her on a new level by like reading her perspective. April is gonna be a rough time for me emotionally as a reader. And then after that we have another book coming out on April 9th, The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I have read Ninth House and Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, but that's all I've read. I really want to read Six of Crows, but I haven't yet because I'm just a slacker. But The Familiar really caught my eye. I don't know, the cover is just very interesting. All I really know is that it's a historical fantasy. It's set during the Spanish Golden Age. I know that I like Leigh Bardugo's writing and storytelling very much, and I know that I want to continue to read books by her. Next, we're jumping into May. I have a couple for May. First, Lore Olympus Volume 6 comes out on May 7th. Again, oh, they're on this side. Let me slide to the left here. But I've got my Heartstoppers. This is my graphic novel shelf. So I've got like my Heartstoppers and my Lore Olympuses. Volume 4 I lent out to somebody, and I didn't buy Volume 5 yet, but I need to do that before Volume 6 comes out, and then obviously pre-order Volume 6. I love this series. Volume 5 was actually my favorite so far, so I'm very much looking forward to the next volume and to see where the story goes, because I feel like it hit a really satisfying arc in book 5, so I'm very excited about that one. After that, we have The Brides of High Hill by Niveau, also coming out on May 7th. This is the 5th book in the Singing Hill cycle. These are novellas, so I really go into them knowing absolutely nothing other than like the premise of the series, which is that we follow this cleric who travels around this like historical, fantastical version of China, and there's a lot of like mythology and folklore, and our main character, Cleric Chi, collects oral histories in their travels throughout like the countryside and the cities and such. And another one where book 4 I think might be my favorite. It came out in 2023. It made my best books of the year list. I loved it. I love the series, and I've loved many of them, but book 4 just kind of like hit a very emotional note that I thought was very well done. So I'm so excited to be continuing with that series when it comes out. After that, we have a new-ish author to me. At the end of 2023, I read Gwen and Art Are Not in Love by Lex Croucher, and I was absolutely obsessed with it. So I immediately put all of their backlisted titles on my TBR, so I'm definitely going to chip away at those in 2024, but also I don't know if it's like a series that Gwen and Art Are Not in Love is the first book in, or if it's just kind of like Lex Croucher's YA series kind of like have similar covers. But anyway, Not for the Faint of Heart by Lex Croucher is coming out on May 9th, and it is a sapphic Robin Hood retelling. That's all I need to know. I loved Gwen and Art so much that I would have read anything else that Lex Croucher writes. And so when I saw them announce this on Instagram, my brain immediately latched onto it, and now it's like all I can think about. The cover is fantastic. Also, I don't think I've ever read a Robin Hood retelling or even like heard of one. Oh my gosh. Okay, after that, now we are getting into the territory of things that I am just like truly over the moon about. The final installment in the Between Earth and Sky series by Rebecca Roanhorse, Mirrored Heavens, comes out on June 4th, 2024. I am not prepared for this, but I cannot wait to read it. I reread Black Sun and Red Fevered Star at the very end of 2023, and both experiences were just fantastic. I love this series so much. I said this in my best of the year video, but this series is quickly becoming one of my favorite fantasy series like of all time. It is like a must read of the fantasy genre for me, and I have absolutely no idea what Rebecca Roanhorse has in store for this final installment, but I know that it is going to break my brain, crush my heart and soul, and I'm so scared to find out what's gonna happen to Shala, my Teak queen. And after that, we have another final third installment in a series that I have been anticipating being concluded for a very long time, and that is Legacy of Orisha series. And the final installment is Children of Anguish and Anarchy. First of all, fantastic title. Second of all, this cover took my breath away when I first saw it, to the point that I was like choking on my awe of how gorgeous this cover is. So excited for this third and final installment. I think I'm gonna have to end up rereading the first two books before this one comes out, because I feel like I'm forgetting some key plot information. Fantastic West African mythology YA series that I just, like I said, I'm probably gonna have to revisit it before the third and final book comes out, but I have been waiting for this to come out for so long, and it's finally going to be here on June 25th, 2024. Okay, now we're diving into some August releases. We have The Pairing by Casey McQuiston, their newest adult romance. We don't have a cover yet, but it does come out on August 6th. And this is a romance about two exes go on like a food and wine tasting tour, I think, in Europe. Or they go on some kind of trip in Europe to like prove that they're over each other. Like, this just sounds so fun. I love Red, White, and Royal Blue. You can't see it because it's a little bit high on my shelf, but that is like one of my favorite romances of all time. Then after that, also on August 6th, is the 7th book in the Dark Olympus series, Dark Restraint. So this is the second Dark Olympus books that's going to come out this year, and this one is an Ariadne and the Minotaur retelling. They are not siblings in this world, obviously. In Katie Roberts' world, she takes a lot of liberties with the original myth. Ariadne and the Minotaur share no relation in Katie Roberts' world, but the 7th book is their romance. After that, oh my god, my best book, I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil the video for you, but my best book of 2023 was The Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless. It is a historical fantasy set in Ireland with Irish mythology. It is so good. It's amazing. I'm reading the 2nd book right now, The Words of Kings and Prophets. It's fantastic. I'm only 90 pages in. But the 3rd and final book, first of all, I thought this was a duology. So imagine my elation when I discover it's a trilogy. But the 3rd and final book, The Land of the Living and the Dead, I am dead after seeing this cover. It is gorgeous. Oh my god, I love it so much. It's beautiful. I think it comes out in September. It might come out in September in the UK and October in the States. I'm not 100% sure, because Shauna Lawless is from Northern Ireland, so she's on like the UK publishing train, I guess, which makes me sad because then they get it early. Whenever it comes out, I will be immediately purchasing it and devouring it, and then I will be sad and crying because it's over. But the series is so good. It's like tailor-made for me and my personal interests as a reader. Okay, I have 2 that don't have a date yet, so I'll save those for the end. The last one that we have a date for is Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. The 5th book in the Stormlight Archive has been announced for December 6th, 2024. Color me shocked, because I thought we were going to have to wait for 2025, and we nearly do, but you know what? I am going to give it a pass because I'm so excited. I can't wait for the cover reveal. I love the Stormlight Archive. Brandon Sanderson is amazing. This is not new. I actually have a series of spoiler reading vlogs for all the Stormlight books, so if you are a Stormlight reader and you don't want to have to reread all of the books before the 5th one comes out, you can watch those videos where they have like recaps of things that go on and my reactions to all of the big plot points. That's what I'm going to be doing to remember everything before the 5th book comes out. This is also the last book in the first arc, so this one is going to hit hard. I have no idea what is going to happen in the best way. The last 2 don't have release dates yet. The first one is Once Smitten, Twice Shy by Chloe Lees. This is the 3rd book in the Wilmot Sisters trilogy. The first two Wrongs Make a Right and Better Hate Than Never are right here. I don't know if you can see their spines. This is the 3rd and final book, follows Jewels, and Will, I think, is the male love interest's name. I don't know a whole lot about this. I think it's like a, not really a second chance romance, but kind of like a awkward first meeting leads to some sort of romantic happening. I don't know. I'm just reading it because it's Chloe Lee's, man. I mean, you don't have to tell me. Again, no cover for this one yet, no release date for this one yet. I imagine it's gonna come out in the fall. That's when the other two Wilmot sister books came out, was like in that like fall time. Last but not least, we have Hera by Jennifer Saint. All I know is that it is a book about Hera, and I'm so excited. I'm very anxious about this one because I hope that Jennifer Saint does it justice, because I really liked Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. I did not like Electra at all. But then I read Atalanta this year and I quite enjoyed that one. So I think that, like, for the most part, I do like Jennifer Saint's writing. I'm very, very intrigued what she's gonna do, writing from the perspective of a goddess. And I hope that she does it well, because I think that if she does, it could be very good. Cautiously anticipating that one as well. So we'll see what happens with that one, but I think it's gonna be pretty good. So I'm very excited. Again, no release date, so I don't know when to expect that one at all. But I do think it's like slated to come out this year. That concludes the first section, which is also the larger section, so apologies, that took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. But now we're going to debut authors or new to me authors. We have, I think, 10 in this category to discuss. And I will give little synopses for these, are like taglines, so to speak, to give you an idea of what they're about, as they are also new to me. So I had to know a little bit going into these books. So yeah, let's just dive right into my other new to me author anticipated releases of 2024. Again, we're going back to the beginning of the year, January, and then this takes us through to August, but I'm assuming that's because a lot of debut authors or authors that are new to me, I just haven't necessarily heard about their books yet that are coming out later in the year, or maybe they haven't been announced yet. So there definitely are gonna be more that I just didn't put on this list because I either haven't seen them yet or I forgot about them. And the first one comes out on January 9th, which is Tuesday, so it's like a few days from now, and that is The Jinn Waits 100 Years by Shubnam Khan. I just feel like this is the perfect book to read in the fall time. So I don't know that I'm necessarily going to read this when it comes out next week. I just think that this is like the perfect October read. It says that it's a gorgeously atmospheric novel about a ruined mansion by the sea, the djinn that haunts it, and a curious girl who unearths the tragedy that happened there 100 years previously. This reminds me a little bit of Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. That one is also, you know, following a young protagonist. It's sort of a coming of age story, and she accidentally brings to life a god, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And I remember liking that book, so I'm interested in reading this because it's giving me similar plot vibes. But also this is like an adult version of it, I suppose, whereas the other one is a YA. It just feels so gothic and perfect for the fall time. So even if I don't read it right away, this is definitely one that I hope to read this year. And one that sounds very interesting. There's another one that comes out on the 9th that I'm excited for, and it's Don't Want You Like a Best Friend by Emma R. Albin. It says it's a swoon-worthy debut queer Victorian romance about two debutantes who distract themselves from having to seek husbands by setting up their widowed parents, and instead find that they are the perfect match for each other. The lesbian Bridgerton / Parent Trap you never knew you needed. First of all, the cover's adorable. I love purple. I'm a sucker. But a historical romance, a friends to lovers, a Parent Trap Bridgerton inspiration. This sounds fantastic. And it's a debut in a sapphic Bridgerton. I haven't seen Bridgerton, but I do love myself like a historical romance vibe. I'm definitely going to be picking that one up, hopefully in the next month or two after it comes out on Tuesday, because it just looks so darling and I'm excited. After that, we've got our first SFF title on the list, and that is Womb City by Tololo Tamasa, I believe is how you pronounce their name. This one immediately caught my attention because of the cover. It looks so intriguing. And then I went and read the description. It immediately sold me. I hit add to TBR, add to want to read, and this comes out on January 23rd of 2024. And it says, Womb City imagines a dark and deadly future Botswana, rich with culture and true folklore, which begs the question, how far must one go to destroy the structures of inequality upon which a society was founded? How far must a mother go to save the life of her child? I love the idea of a dark, like, borderline dystopian future. It's set in Botswana, which is amazing. We've got like a non-Euro-colonial context for the plot. I'm really excited to pick this one up and give it a try, and I might do a reading vlog for this one because I kind of want to do a science fiction reading vlog. Next, we're getting into February releases, and we have Medea by Eilish Quinn. I believe this is also a debut novel, and it says, discover the full story of the sorceress Medea, one of the most reviled and maligned women of Greek antiquity, in this propulsive and evocative debut in the tradition of Circe, Electra, and Stoneblind. I love Circe. I did not like Electra, but I loved Stoneblind. It's always a toss-up if I'm going to enjoy the writing style and the choices that an author makes when approaching a retelling, but because I love mythology so much, it's usually worth it to me to take that like risk with a new author if I'm going to like their approach or not. I read Medea in college, and then I believe I also read a retelling of Medea called The Hungry Woman. I can't remember the author's name, but I read it for a women in literature class that I took, and I remember really liking Euripides' original, and I also remember really liking the retelling. And then next we have another one that's based on Norse mythology that comes out on February 27th, and that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. It says, a shield maiden blessed by the gods battles to unite a nation under a power-hungry king, while also fighting her growing desire for his fiery son. So this is a Norse-inspired fantasy romance, a romantasy, if you will. And again, I like mythology. I like Norse mythology. And I was intrigued by the prospect of a fantasy romance by an author that I haven't heard of before. The next one is also a fantasy romance, so I guess this is a theme, and that is Lore of the Wilds by Anale Sabrana. I've actually mentioned this on my channel before because I don't know if I'm dumb and I didn't pay attention to the release date, but I thought this book was coming out in like September of last year, and then it didn't. And it's now saying that it's coming out on February 27th. So either I made a mistake or the release date was pushed back. Either way, this book is finally going to be in our hands in February on the 27th, and it is a romantasy debut about an enchanted library, two handsome fae, and one human who has to bring them all together. I just want to read you this little bit of the synopsis that got me. It says, a library with a deadly enchantment, a fae lord who wants in, and a human woman willing to risk it all for a taste of power. I love the power-hungry, like, female character, female, like, trope, because I feel like so often women are demonized for being power hungry, especially in fantasy. There's something so compelling to me about a main character that is so power hungry, and you know, allowing her to want everything, to want it all, and to take it at will. Yes, I am here for it. Now we're going to jump into just plain old contemporary romance. I did lie to you. There's one March release on this list, and it is this one, and that is Kilt Trip by Alexandra Kiley, which comes out on March 5th. All I know about this book is that it's set in Scotland. The female main character is a travel consultant who will travel anywhere but Scotland, and then like some situation makes it that she has to go to Scotland, and our male main character is obviously a Scottish guy, and I think like his goal is to make her fall in love with Scotland and like prove that it's this magical place. An Irish or a Scottish guy, a guy in a kilt, just kind of gets me, which is definitely, it's not for everybody, but obviously that's what attracted me to this cover. After that, we have The Dead Cattail Assassins by Peach Jelly Clark, which comes out on April 23rd. I have so many of Peach Jelly Clark's books on my TBR. I haven't read anything by him before, which is a crime, I am aware, but I am so intrigued by this one specifically. Figured I would just keep adding to the list of books by him that I have to read. And it says that Nebula and Alex Award winner Peach Jelly Clark introduces a brand new world and a fantastical city full of gods and assassins. I love assassins and like this trope of like a group of assassins who will like have to take on the rough jobs. Like, I don't know, it just sounds so interesting. And I figured, you know, like I said, I have to read a bunch of other stuff by Peter Jelly Clark, so let's just tack it on the list. After that, we have Last Arc Dreaming by Sudi Davies Okunbawa, which comes out in May on the 21st. And this is another author. I literally own a book by him that I haven't read yet because I'm trash. And it is The Son of the Storm, I think is what it's called. But this is a novella, and when I read the synopsis from this one, I just had to add it to my TBR. You know what I'm saying? And I figured like, okay, maybe I'll read the novella first, get a taste for the author's writing, and then dive into the more long fantasy duology situation that he's got. But listen to this, okay? The brutally engineered class divisions of Snowpiercer meets River Solomon's The Deep in this high-octane post-climate disaster novella written by NAMO award-winning author Sudi Davies Okunbawa. River Solomon is one of my favorite authors of all time. The Deep is probably my favorite of Fair Works. And you're gonna compare this novella to River Solomon? I have to read it. I have to read it. And Snowpiercer is a really good movie. It definitely messes with my brain every time I think about it, but a very good movie, a film that I quite enjoyed. And so like all of the buzzwords are buzzing for me, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, definitely gonna be reading that one when it comes out. Last but certainly not least, we have The Truth According to Ember by Danica Nava. And I think, yes, this is a debut author, but listen to this synopsis. It's a Chickasaw woman who can't catch a break serves up a little white lie that snowballs into much more in this witty and irresistible rom-com. So this is a workplace romance. So excited to be reading an Indigenous authored romance because I don't think I've ever read a romance by an Indigenous author before, which is definitely something that I want to correct. I have a couple on my TBR, I think, but this one just looks so darling and cute, and it's a debut author. That is going to wrap up my anticipated releases for 2024. Like I said, there's probably some that I forgot, that I haven't seen yet, or that haven't been announced yet. So there's going to be a lot throughout the year that I'm excited for as well that is not on this list, but this is just kind of guiding me through the year and like getting me excited for each month, all the things that are going to be published. So again, please let me know in the comments down below what you are anticipating. Are there any books in like series, new to you authors? Drop it all in the comments down below. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. It means the world to me. I love you all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if that's your jam, and I hope to see you in my next video. Happy reading, happy writing, and happy living. Peace out.